The day I pulled up to my ranch gate and saw those iron bars bolted across it, my stomach dropped like a rock in a parched riverbed. My truck's tires screeched, kicking up a cloud of Texas dust that burned my eyes, but not nearly as much as the sight of that barricade. My land, 800 acres of Harper's Hollow, passed down through 4 generations, was my refuge, my quiet after a lifetime of chaos. And now some HOA had the nerve to lock me out of my own home. A sign hung there, smug as a snake oil salesman's grin. Saw access restricted. Blue Water HOA zone. No entry without approval. Saw. I'm Caleb Morrow, 45, a former Marine turned cattle rancher, levying my days with my mutt, Rusty, on this sprawling patch of earth outside Austin. I traded the madness of deployments for wide skies and open fields, the kind of peace you can't put a price on. But the Blue Water HOA, led by a guy named Leonard Price, had other ideas. Leonard was the type who'd starch his khakis for a trip to the mailbox 60, slick back hair, drove a Lexus with a plate reading Saw King 1 Saw, and carried a clipboard like it was a crown. He'd moved into the gated community half a mile down the dirt road to my ranch and acted like he owned every inch of it, including my driveway. It started small, flyers in my mailbox about neighborhood aesthetics, notes suggesting I repaint my bar to match their standards. My land's been free of HOA nonsense since my granddad signed a preservation clause in '69, but Leonard and his crew Eleanor, a nosy retiree who'd spy over my fence with binoculars, and Martin, their number-crunching treasurer who once demanded my water permits for the archives, kept pushing. A month before the gate fiasco, I caught a surveyor snooping near my fence, claiming Leonard hired him to clarify boundaries. Then my mailbox got smashed, a note inside reading, "Saw order is coming." Saw I figured they'd burn out. But when Rusty vanished for a day, limping home with a cut paw and a Blue Water HOA tag zip-tied to his collar, Saw keep him leashed, Saw scrawled on it, me blood started simmering. The locked gate? That was the match that lit the fuse. I wasn't just mad about the bars. It was every jab, every sneer, every time they treated my home like their sandbox. I snapped a photo, called the sheriff, and learned the road had been quietly rezoned as shared access while I was out of town. Leonard had greased some palms at the county office, and nobody bothered to tell me. That's when I decided I wasn't just tearing down that gate, I was tearing down their whole game. I'd buy the land they leaned on, every blade of grass they bragged about, and make them choke on their own rules. Over beers at my kitchen table, my cousin Nora, a land lawyer with a knack for flipping tables, laid it out. "Caleb, we don't just sue them. We buy the ground, they're standing on trails, ponds, the works that make them pay to breathe on it. With my SA, VY, NGS, some veteran benefits, and a loan against the ranch, we had enough to move. Nora set up a shell company, Starfield Ventures, and we started buying. Old ranchers, tax-strapped families, folks fed up with Leonard's reign, they sold to us quietly. In 3 weeks, we owned 60 fan tram of the land around Blue Water, including their precious nature trail, and the lake VYEW. Leonard loved posing in front of for HOA newsletters. But Leonard didn't sit still. One morning, my ranch hand, Diego, called me to the north field. "Boss, you got to see this." My irrigation line, the lifeblood of my herd, was buried under a slab of fresh concrete, a Blue Water logo spray-painted dead center. They'd snuck in at night, cut my water, and didn't care if my cattle starved. I saw red. That night, I rented a jackhammer, and at 3 a.m., with Rusty howling at the moon, I tore that slab apart, concrete flying like shrapnel. By dawn, the water flowed again. Leonard showed up at noon, clipboard in hand, Eleanor and Martin flanking him like goons. "You're destroying community property, Morrow," he sneered, his voice dripping with fake calm. I didn't look up from the pipe I was fixing. "This ain't your community, Len. Never was." He leaned in, close enough I could smell his cologne. "You'll regret this. We've got lawyers." I stood, wiped the dirt off my hands, and met his eyes. "Good. Tell him to bring a map, 'cause I own the dirt you're standing on." Eleanor gasped, clutching her binoculars. Martin muttered about fines. They stormed off, but I knew they weren't done. Nora and I kept buying. By month's end, we had 80 fan tram of their landscape, every picnic spot, every dog path, every inch they used to flex their power. We sent a letter, cold and official. Saw Starfield Ventures now controls Blue Water's surrounding land. To maintain access, HOA dues will triple, effective immediately. Non-compliance means locked gates. Saw Leonard lost it. I heard he threw a chair at a town hall when residents saw their dues jump from due lot 250 to due lot 750. Half the board quit. Martin stood up, pointed at Leonard, and yelled, "You screwed us, Price. You poked a damn bear." Eleanor stormed out, sobbing about her ruined retirement. I didn't stop there. On the lot by their Entrancia prime spot Leonard had tried to buy for years, I put up a billboard, blood-red letters screaming, "Saw private property. Trespassers face Starfield Ventures." Saw the neighborhood bust. Some folks, fed up with Leonard's iron fist, started calling me, asking to lease plots for gardens or sheds. A couple, Tom and Lila, met me at the fence, heads low. "We're sorry, Caleb," Tom said. "We paid dues, kept quiet, but Leonard's lost it. Can we grow some veggies on your land?" I grinned. "Help me fix a fence, and you've got a deal." Then Leonard pulled a dirty trick. Feds showed UPA Bureau of Land Management suit, all polished shoes, and paperwork saying they'd gotten anonymous complaints about my land use, claiming I was blocking public trails and harming the environment. My jaw dropped. They saw poured concrete in my ditch, burned my hay shed, and saw the bad guy. The agent shrugged. "File a counterclaim, but your fences and drones are on hold." Drones? Yeah, I'd set up a camera on a pole to watch their clubhouse, streaming it online to keep them honest. Leonard called it psychological warfare. I called it proof their shed fire wasn't an accident. The sheriff found gasoline traces and a piece of Leonard's signature clipboard, singed but damning. Then their clubhouse got vandalized, smashed windows, graffiti, and Leonard swore it was me. My camera showed I was home, but the damage was done. One night, I caught two figures sneaking across my land, tossing firecrackers to spook me, then lighting a blaze by my generator. The footage was gold. One guy limped, flashing a gold watch I'd seen on Leonard's wrist. I sent it to the sheriff, the feds, everyone. Suddenly, Leonard was the one sweating. The neighborhood cracked open. Tom and Lila spread the word. Residents were done. They petitioned to oust Leonard and dissolve the HOA. He vanished house dark, car gone. I offered the remaining board a deal, drop all complaints, and I'd waive 6 months of dues, letting them use the trails under my terms. They caved. A letter arrived, signed by 2 shell-shocked board members. Saw Leonard's out. "HOA's done. Let's start over." Saw. I read it with Rusty at my side, his tail thumping like he knew we'd won. Weeks later, clearing a trail, I found a bag Leonard had stuffed with fake permits, bribe receipts, even a burner phone. The sheriff nabbed him in Oklahoma, trying to scam another land deal. He copped a plea. 3 years probation, Dula 100,000 in fines, banned from HOAs forever. My gates swung open again. Water flowed, and neighbors started WVYing. But then the county threw a curveball. My land buys had spiked property taxes for Blue Water homes, some quadrupling. I felt a pang. Most folks weren't Leonard. They were just caught in his mess. So I pitched the Morrow Compact, work on the ranch, fix trails, plant gardens, teach kids about cattle, and I'd rebate their taxes. Tom and Lila started a community plot. Old Mrs. Clara and her book club painted my new learning barn, bringing pie every Sunday. Even Quiet George, a former board member, carved benches for the trails, each dedicated to a local vet. The ranch hummed with life, better than I'd ever dreamed. Leonard's billboard? I kept it but changed the words. Saw Harper's Hollow, built on respect, open to all. Saw below it, a plaque read, "Saw in memory of HOA greed. Never again." Saw we threw a party to unveil it, kids on bikes, ribs on the grill, music echoing over the hills. I gave a quick speech, nothing fancy. I didn't fight to win. I fought so no one else has to feel trapped on their own land. This ranch isn't just mine, no, it's ours. Folks clapped, some teared up, and Rusty barked like he was leading the charge. Old man Silas, who sold me the key entrance lot, pulled up in his beat-up Ford. He handed me a faded sign, with chipped but words clear. Saw fences hold land, but respect holds people. Saw we nailed it to the gatepost. right where Leonard's bars once stood. The county made it official. My land was now a private ranch district, untouchable by any HOA forever. We burned a clipboard that night, flames high, laughter louder. But here's the twist that keeps me up some nights. Those tax hikes are hitting hard. Some folks can't volunteer enough to offset them, and I see the worry in their eyes. I won the war, but at what cost? Harper's Hollow is thriving, but the fight left scars not just on the land, but on the people I now call neighbors. What do you think? Was I right to fight fire with fire? Or did I go too far? Should I have stopped at the gate? Or was taking their land the only way to win? And those tax hikes, how do I balance my Tory with the burden it's put on innocent folks? Drop your thoughts below. Hit that like button if you felt the heat of this fight, and subscribe for more stories where the underdog bites back. Let's keep this conversation going.